Okay, this is the second part of the first video. I hit the wrong button because, the screen was misbehaving and maybe I touched the wrong place. I don't know what happened there. But anyways, I want you to see what this is. So this is the sigil or symbol of Lucifer, okay? This is like a summoning symbol that Satanists will use, or people that worship the darkness of this world. And so if you look at this central symbol, right, you've got what looks to be kind of like Aramaic. This kind of looks like Aramaic swishes, or maybe it's Old Hebrew. Oh, this might be Hebrew marks, excuse me. I think this is Hebrew. This is not Aramaic. This is Hebrew. Anyways, so Samael and Lilith. Okay, so if you look at the central symbol, the bottom part has these little swishes in the V, and the top part looks like pretty much like a pentagram with a vertical line over the top. So this is where it's interesting. So if you look here, there's no bottom line, but if you look, this is basically what you would call a pentagram. Once these lines meet, it's pretty much a pentagram inside of a circle. This upper line right here, I don't know why that's there, but I actually can explain in a minute. Now, if you look here, if you see what that is a Masonic compass and square. So the bottom half of the satanic symbol for Lucifer, the light bearer, is the Masonic symbol. Now, the G in the middle of the Masonic symbol, there's G-Man, which you'll see like rappers wear G. So don't want to call them out for probably being Freemasons and working with the government, but yeah, most likely. Tupac used to wear G-Man stuff. He used to call himself he's a G, and probably why he got shot, right? Because the other rappers didn't like the fact he was like either a Mason or working with the government. He also said he was betrayed by his family. The Masons like to use the Bible, and they always talk about Joseph and Job and stuff like that, and you're second in command, the Joseph story about you being in second in command after you get tortured and tormented. They like to use that satanic bullshit to curse you and then commit atrocities against you. You look at Pee Wee Herman, he was treated as number 2 on the dating game. You look at Tupac, the reason he had the name 2 in his fucking name was because he knew he was being betrayed by his family like Joseph, and those motherfuckers shot him. The reason I know this is because the same group of people tried to do the same fucking shit to me, and I survived. You look at other people in Hollywood who are treated as number 2. Maybe they're in the second trailer, and it'll be like trailer number 2 of a movie, or they'll always be treated as second best. Those people are the ones that they treat as sacrifices. That's why they call you number 2, like you're shit. And so, you got number 1 and number 2. Number 1's a golden child. Number 2 is a scapegoat. The scapegoat is a common phrase that's actually used in the Masonic order. It has to do with a story about Azazel, and there's a goat that basically got ostracized away from wherever they ran off a goat, and that was like to be, to remove from the group, because that was what the cursed creature was, and so they ran that thing away. And so a scapegoat is somebody who's basically abused by a group. And the Masonic order obviously participates in that sort of ritualistic behavior when they find somebody, and that's why there's these random people that die. And you can see right here that this is the bottom half of a Luciferian, a demonic form of satanic worship. G is also, so you've got the first 3 degrees in the Masonic order, and those are like your first 3 requirements. You need 3, and then everything after that is basically different understandings, but your first 3 degrees are essentially required, and that's the 3 steps on the way up to the judge's bench in a courtroom. When you're getting the 3rd degree, that's exactly what they mean. You're getting the 3rd degree, it means you're getting like basically ran over with a steamroller in one way or another. Like basically you're the scapegoat, you're mistreated, you're being fucked up, you're getting the 3rd degree. That's what that means. That's also a metaphorical statement. So they call you number 2, because that's what the scapegoat is. That is the person who's always treated like he's second best or shitty, regardless of whatever you do. Like me personally, I could figure out how to take a space station and put it around the orbit of Mars, so people's like the gravity matches Earth, so we could actually have like a sustainable life sustaining system in the orbit of Mars. I could figure out how to do that. I could decode the predictions of the events that occur in World War III before they happen. And I could also decode the contents of the Ark of the Covenant and what the Ark of the Covenant is in the Holy Bible. And being the scapegoat, they wouldn't even fucking pay attention to me. I could literally create a new energy power in this world, and they would just try and fuck me up, steal it from me, and probably bury me along the way so they didn't fucking get blamed for it. Anyways, it's kind of the shit that I'm dealing with. Now, if you look at the upper half, you can see that this is a pentagram, except with a line above it. Now, one of the things because you've got your valleys and your mountains in life. So you've got your compass and your square. It kind of denotes, it's one of the many symbols of a Masonic order's symbolism. So I'll tell you what the G is in a minute. You're going to laugh because I was talking about the third degrees. This right here is the bottom half of the satanic symbol. The upper half is literally the pentagram, which is the symbolism of Satanism. So you could say this is like the worship of Lucifer. This is the worship of Satan. Lucifer resides below Satan. And so you can see how that's written. So you've got your mountains and valleys in life. Okay? One of the comments that they say is that you need to stay on the level. In other words, you've got valleys and you've got mountains in life. It's best to stay mellow and level so you don't have to deal with climbing up and down hills and overexerting yourself for the course of your life. See, that's something that they teach you because the rest of the world wants you to constantly chase the carrot while you're running on a fucking treadmill. Hi to all the chads out there and all the people who are currently working out in gyms that are not seeing the writing on the wall, what they're trying to create. Anyways, they're having you run on a treadmill for a reason, and you're never going to catch the carrot. And that's the point. That's the point of what they're trying to say here. The satanic symbol right here of this pentagram, this level right here actually would be down here, and that creates the star, the upside down star of a pentagram. So they didn't want to tell you to recognize what the level means. It's the staying on the level is telling you to basically avoid the hills and valleys of life. You know, keep an emotional keel, an even emotional keel. Keep your life slow and steady wins the race, basically. So that's something that they don't really tell you, but you can see what this symbol is and the way that they've pulled pieces out of it and put pieces into it. Now the G stands for G-Man, but it also stands for Gehenna, which is a name for the third level of hell. So when you start seeing all the symbolism and you start recognizing what it is, then you know that there's something about it. Like if you look at James Cameron's Fire and Ash, they've got a phoenix, and I guess that would be the, what is that? It's the compass. The compass is the top component. And so the phoenix is the bottom, the top of the A for Fire and Ash is the compass. So the square would actually be the phoenix. So James Cameron's Fire and Ash, they've got an A on fire. Yeah, it's a Masonic compass and square. He kind of needs to be pulled in by the police and questioned about that because for the last 10 years, everything in the United States has been burning in random areas for no good fucking reason. And he actually pre-scripted everything when it came to doing the voice recording far in advance, before all three of those avatars were released. So in other words, he was doing the script for these films far before they ever were released. It's kind of like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They actually anticipated 2 years in advance the outcome of World War II, but it's 2 years in advance before World War II even started. I have proof of that because I know how World War III is coming down. So they did the same thing in movies and books and in literature and like magazines, anything like that. Could be a fucking sitcom for all we know. But anyways, they did the same fucking thing. They wrote a script, and people are going to try and play it out on the world stage, and a lot of people are going to die. I, as a scapegoat of a shitty narcissistic family, couldn't even get anybody to listen to me. Call up a news channel. They just want to pound me into the sand. So, kind of tells you the current state of affairs the United States is sitting in. But yeah, this is the satanic people who think they can basically abuse your children, poison your meds, poison your vaccines, poison your food, run you through psychology, which is basically inadequate at best because all it's designed to do is trap you back into a framework that has to do with society draining the life force out of you so the rich can get richer. That's what they're trying to do right now. Oh yeah, they're also trying to cover up all their bullshit. So I was sitting there thinking about 300, someone had mentioned that 300,000 people during Biden's administration disappeared coming across the border. That's a lot of people. So I was wondering why they're trying to get everybody out with ICE so fervently and so crazy to the point where it's almost caused a civil war. Guess who is probably running these women and children for the government? Because who else would do it? I mean, it would require a huge government entity like the police force or the military, which they're not doing it. Or it would be like the gangs. So, who's most likely to be doing all this weird shit on a grand scale? 300,000 people disappearing? That's as much as what Grok takes in homes to stay electrified. I don't know if you know that, but Grok, that AI, it takes 300,000 homes worth of electricity to fucking run. And that's precisely exactly how many women and children disappeared during the Biden administration. Kind of funny. Anyways, random facts. But you'll sit here and look at this stuff and you go, oh, I see what you fucking guys are doing. But it's kind of funny because after a while, they do the same shit over and over again. Like I said, they did it to Tupac, murdered him. They abused Pee Wee Herman. You can see that on the dating show. They made him number 2. Big old thumbs up. It's all Masonic symbolism. And then they abuse the fuck out of you. And then they want to kiss your ass when they get caught because they don't want to be held responsible for their shitty behavior. It's like, oh, it's supposed to be all insider trading. Yeah, well, if you're trying to kill the people that you're abusing for your own sick, twisted pleasure, you don't get to do that for very long until you get caught. And we've got 100 years between Walt Disney being in De Molay, which is actually a Masonic orders training system for the Knight Templar. When you have Walt Disney in De Molay, and he's basically putting out films that revolve around Epstein Island and World War II premeditated scripts for these sick fucks to follow, you kind of know who's involved. And that is what you would call a smoking gun when you bring it all together. So, I actually called up the Masonic headquarters in, Jacksonville, Florida, where the headmaster, the head Grand Master of the United States, the entire United States was. And I talked to an individual named Jeff, and I said, I'm being harassed in every possible way, and I've called every government entity, including the Washington State Patrol, the local sheriff, the CIA, the FBI, ATF, just pretty much everybody. Secret Service, pretty much everybody. And I couldn't get them to listen to what I had to say, and harassed at the highest order. You name it. If it's somebody you don't like, they probably came at me sideways and fucked me up. One way or another. Whether it's a jab, an abusive quote. And I've been recording it and documenting it this whole fucking time. That's the funniest thing. So, the funniest thing about this is I've just kind of been sitting here quietly agitated about these situations, not doing anything to give them an opportunity to harm me. But yeah, everything from sleep deprivation to sneaking in my house and turning on a water faucet when I'm not at home. Most people would have lost their minds at this point. That's why they call themselves targeted individuals, and it's gang stalking. It's just a narcissist. Most of the people in charge as leaders of this country are fucking narcissists, and they're shitty people. There's not much you can do about it unless you just wipe them all out. I mean, that's what my dad was saying a long time ago is when I was a teenager, he said that we need to take all of the politicians and throw them in front of the firing squad because they're all terrorists and traitors. He said that 25 years ago, right after 9/11 happened. And now, him saying that the government is the devil, and how he showed me when you take the word computer and you actually put it in numerology, it calculates out to 666, and you can't find any other word in the English language that matches that. And how they're pushing AI and the number of the beast, which is the computer. They're pushing that harder than anything else. You can see what their intentions are. And you can see what they're about. So yeah, when I said the government was the devil, I thought it was a metaphor. I thought he was like jokingly saying they're about the yuckiest as that they can possibly be. I didn't know that he was fucking literal when he said that. And now I know. And now you should too. Anyways. I don't know what to say. You can kind of see it. The bricklaying. Oh yeah, another thing about shitting a brick. That's also a metaphorical analysis because the Masons are bricklayers of society. So when they're shitting a brick, it's like something unforeseen happened and they're all rushing around and running around trying to fix the fucking mess that they didn't anticipate. So a lot of these metaphors and these old statements and these old phrases that you hear are merely statements that sound good to you, that you don't know what they mean until you see it on a higher level. So, I don't know what to say besides, I'm tired of being someone else's fucking punching bag for whatever fucking reason that these assholes targeted me. And, when it all comes out, the worst terrorists that we're going to see in this world are going to be our own government, unfortunately. And, like I said, I never signed a contract to work for these motherfuckers, and I didn't sign up for this shit to begin with. So, like I said before, if you run around the world, if you actually travel all the way around the world, and everywhere you go, there's an asshole chasing you around trying to harass you, similar to how you experienced in your own hometown, as well as where you live now, what are you fucking supposed to do? And you tell the government, hey, I've got assholes chasing me around the world that are harassing me everywhere I go. What the fuck is this shit? And they don't have an answer. What does that mean to you? Especially when they're the ones harassing you. You know exactly what's going on. So it's about high time that they take responsibility for their own behaviors. And, well, it's good on them for having set up the firing squad in, South Carolina or North Carolina. You know, one of the things is that one of my earlier videos is green and white. You got a green and white cross on a corn pouch. Yeah, they took a couple people that were on death row and put them in green and white shirts. And that's actually targeted harassment by the mainstream media when they do that shit. Those are death threats. So, you know, I don't take the death threats from the mainstream media that's controlled by the government very lightly in the way that they're behaving. But, you know, that's just stuff that you add to the resume of their poor behavior and the evidence against them so you can present it in court at the proper time. And then they won't have, what do you call it? It's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So, you know, this is what you would say about 2 decades worth of proof beyond a reasonable doubt in places like the internet that everybody has seen. That's the best part, is this has been blatantly done in the open and in an obvious space where they have tried to burn people and harm people along the way to cover up their own bullshit and play their little satanic games when it comes to sacrifice. So, all I gotta say is it's high time, and it's about fucking time that they reap what they've sown.